Your brain is lying to you right now, and the most dangerous part is you don't even realize it. You think your thoughts are yours, you think your decisions are yours, you think your fears make sense, but they don't. They feel real, they feel logical, they feel justified, but they are constructed, generated, predicted by a system inside your head that is not designed to show you truth. It's designed to keep you alive, and survival is not the same as truth. Your brain does not care about your dreams. It does not care about your potential. It does not care about what you could become. It cares about one thing: safety, predictability, familiarity. That's why you feel resistance the moment you try to change your life. Not because change is wrong, not because you can't do it, but because your brain flags it as a threat. Anything new feels dangerous. Anything uncertain feels risky. Anything unfamiliar feels like something to avoid. And your brain reacts instantly. It creates doubt, it creates hesitation, it creates fear, not to stop you from success, but to stop you from leaving the known, because the known feels safe, even if it's limiting, even if it's painful, even if it's keeping you stuck. That's why people stay in situations they know are not good for them. That's why they repeat patterns they know are holding them back. That's why they delay, even when they know what to do, because the brain says, stay here. This is familiar. This is safe. And safety wins over growth every single time, unless you become aware of it. You see, your brain is constantly predicting. It's not reacting to reality. It's predicting what might happen next, based on your past, based on your habits, based on what it already knows. So when you try to do something new, your brain doesn't see opportunity. It sees uncertainty. And uncertainty feels like danger. So it slows you down. It makes you overthink. It makes you hesitate. It makes you question yourself. Not because you're weak, but because your brain is doing its job. The problem is, its job is outdated. Because in the modern world, you don't need to survive. You need to evolve. But your brain is still operating like you're in danger. That's why you feel stress when nothing is actually wrong. That's why you feel anxiety when nothing is actually happening. That's why you avoid action, even when it could change your life. Because your brain is trying to protect you from something that isn't even real. It's protecting you from imagined outcomes, worst-case scenarios, things that haven't happened and probably won't. But your brain treats them like they are real. And that's where the illusion begins. You think you're thinking logically, but you're not. You're reacting to predictions. You're reacting to fear. You're reacting to patterns that were built years ago and never updated. That's why you repeat the same cycles, the same habits, the same decisions, the same results. Because your brain prefers repetition over possibility. It prefers certainty over growth. It prefers the known over the unknown. And the unknown is exactly where your future is. Everything you want exists outside your current patterns, outside your current thinking, outside your current behavior. But your brain will do everything it can to keep you inside, because inside feels safe and outside feels dangerous, even when it's not. That's the lie. The biggest lie your brain tells you. This is risky. This is not the right time. You're not ready. You might fail. You should wait. And you believe it because it feels true. But feeling is not truth. It's just a signal, and your brain controls the signal. So if your brain is biased, your feelings are biased. If your brain is afraid, your reality feels scary. If your brain is limited, your world feels small. That's why two people can look at the same opportunity and see completely different things. One sees risk, the other sees possibility. One hesitates, the other moves. One stays, the other grows. The difference is not reality, the difference is perception. And perception is controlled by the brain, which means if you don't question it, it controls you. And once you understand that, you start seeing everything differently. You start noticing how many of your thoughts are not really yours. They are automatic, pre-built, triggered. You wake up and your mind is already talking, already judging, already predicting, already telling you what kind of day you're going to have before anything even happens. That's not awareness, that's programming. Your brain is running scripts built from your past, from your experiences, from your environment, from everything you've been exposed to, and it keeps repeating them over and over again because repetition creates efficiency, and your brain loves efficiency. It wants to save energy. So instead of thinking deeply, it reacts quickly. It shortcuts everything. That's why you jump to conclusions. That's why you assume. That's why you judge situations instantly. Not based on reality, but based on patterns. Your brain is constantly asking, have I seen this before? And if the answer is yes, it doesn't analyze. It reacts. Fast, automatic, unconscious. And most of the time, You don't even notice it because it feels natural. But natural doesn't mean accurate. It just means familiar. Think about fear. Real fear is useful. It protects you. It keeps you alive. But most of your fear today is not real. It's psychological. It's imagined. It's created by your brain to keep you inside your comfort zone. You're not afraid of failure. You're afraid of what failure means. You're not afraid of change. You're afraid of uncertainty. You're not afraid of taking action. You're afraid of losing control, and your brain amplifies that. It exaggerates outcomes. It creates worst-case scenarios. It plays them in your head over and over again until they feel real, until they feel certain, until they stop you. That's how powerful it is. Your brain can create a reality that doesn't exist, and you will act based on it. That's why people hesitate, not because they can't move, but because they believe something bad will happen, even when there is no evidence. That's the illusion. You think you're being careful, you think you're being smart, but most of the time, you're just being controlled. Controlled by fear, controlled by patterns, controlled by a system inside your head that is trying to keep everything predictable, because predictability feels safe, but predictability kills growth. Everything new is unpredictable. Every opportunity is uncertain. Every level up requires stepping into something unknown. And your brain hates that, so it creates resistance. It makes everything feel harder than it is. It slows you down. It drains your energy. It makes simple decisions feel complex. It turns small actions into big problems. Not because they are, but because your brain is trying to protect you from something that isn't actually dangerous. That's why overthinking exists. It's not intelligence. It's protection. Your brain is trying to analyze everything, to reduce uncertainty, to create control. But the more you think, the more you delay. The more you delay, the more you stay the same. And your brain says, good. Nothing changed. We're safe. But you're not growing. You're not moving forward. You're just maintaining, repeating, staying inside the same loop. And that loop feels normal because you've been in it for so long. That's why awareness is so powerful, because once you see the loop, you can't ignore it. You start catching yourself in the moment, when your brain starts creating doubt, when it starts slowing you down, when it starts telling you to wait. And that's the moment that matters. Not later, not tomorrow, now. Because that's where the control is, not in your thoughts, but in your response to them. You don't control what your brain generates, but you control what you do with it. You control whether you believe it or question it. You control whether you follow it or override it. And that's where power begins, not when your thoughts change, but when your relationship with them changes. Because your brain will always generate fear. It will always create doubt. It will always try to keep you safe. That never stops, but you can stop obeying it. You can stop reacting automatically. You can create space between the thought and the action. And in that space, you have a choice to follow the pattern or break it, to stay the same or move forward, to believe the lie or question it. And most people never reach that point because they never become aware. They live their entire lives inside the illusion, believing every thought, following every feeling, repeating every pattern without ever realizing they had a choice. And this is where everything changes. Not when your brain becomes quiet, not when fear disappears, not when doubt stops, because that never happens. Your brain will always generate noise. It will always predict. It will always try to protect you. That's its nature. That's its design. But now, you see it. You recognize it. You understand it. And that changes everything, because now, you are not inside the system. You are observing it. And the moment you observe it, you create distance. Distance from your thoughts. Distance from your reactions. Distance from the automatic patterns that used to control you. And in that distance, you find something powerful. Choice. Real choice. Not the illusion of choice, but actual control. Because now, when your brain says, don't do it, you don't immediately obey. When it says, wait, you don't automatically stop. When it creates fear, you don't instantly believe it. You pause. Not in hesitation, but in awareness. You see the thought. You recognize the pattern. And then, you decide. That's the difference. Before, your brain decided for you. Now, you decide. And that shift is everything. Because your life is not controlled by your thoughts. It's controlled by your actions. And your actions are controlled by your decisions. And most people never take control of that. They let their brain lead. They let their emotions decide. They let their patterns repeat. And they wonder why nothing changes. But now, you see the truth. Your brain is not your enemy. It's just outdated. It's running old programs, old fears, old patterns, designed for survival, not growth. And if you follow it blindly, you stay the same. But if you question it, you evolve. That's the key. Not fighting your brain, not silencing it, but understanding it, seeing through it, and choosing despite it. Because courage is not the absence of fear, it's action in the presence of it. And your brain will always create fear, so if you're waiting for it to disappear, you'll wait forever. But if you act anyway, you break the system, you break the loop, you break the pattern, and once you break it once, something shifts. You realize you're not controlled, you never were. You just believed you were. And that belief was the real limitation. Not your ability, not your situation, not your circumstances, your belief. And once that breaks, everything opens. Your decisions become faster, your actions become stronger, your hesitation disappears, not completely, but enough. Enough to move, enough to act, enough to change direction. And that's all it takes. Not perfection, not confidence, not certainty. Movement. Because movement creates clarity. Movement builds confidence. Movement changes everything. And the moment you start moving, despite what your brain is telling you, you take control, real control, not over everything, but over yourself. And that's the only control that matters, because once you control your actions, you control your direction. And once you control your direction, you control your life. So the next time your brain tells you, wait, not now, you're not ready, recognize it, see it for what it is, a prediction, a pattern, a protection mechanism, not truth. And then move anyway. Because that is where freedom begins. Not when your brain agrees, but when you stop needing its permission.